Every person in the world has their own reality, and all you have is the image that's in front of you. In reality, everything behind you doesn't exist. The only reason you believe it's real behind you is because you already seen that it's become a part of your reality. Pieced together with every other person's image or reality creates the whole or the collective. It's like being in a dark room with a flashlight and all you see is what's in front of the light. But if the room was filled with a bunch of people with flashlights, that's when you see the whole room. Let's say those same people in the room all decide to focus their flashlight on one corner of the room. That would be all everyone sees. Now let's say one person in the back moves an object in the dark. Then everyone goes back to flashing the whole room again. Some people might notice the change and ask, was that object always there? Others won't notice it at all. Wouldn't that person that moved the object change reality for the whole? That's a physical example how you have the power to change reality, but you have the power on a mental level also. The key, you have to have a lot of attention paid to it for it to manifest. This is you, and all these holes represent all possible realities in your life depending on the choices you make. Let's say you are here in your current reality. Now we're going to add your reality to all the realities of what each person currently experiencing at that exact moment. Of course, it would be much more than this. This string represents our entire collective consciousness of the whole. Anyone can guide the collective to its next destination. You still with me? But what do I mean by next destination? For months now, every time I think about the reality we're in and the Mandela Effect, I keep seeing images of circuit boards and fire. I'll talk about fire in another video. The circuit boards makes me think of electricity, and to me this helps me make sense of a lot of things that's happening in our reality. In my videos, you know I always harp on that reality is predetermined. If reality is dormant, it would be possible that all realities are predetermined and set. The thing is, consciousness hasn't hit it yet. Here's the best way I can explain this. I'm going to use chess as an example. You're playing chess. You make the first move. Your opponent has only one of 22 moves to make. You can picture in your mind what the board would look like with each of those one moves, and each move is a possible reality. You just picture 22 predetermined realities, and only one will happen based on the decision your opponent makes. And you pretty much know what your next move will be no matter what move is made. With every move after that, possible realities increases, and the more pieces you add to the board will increase more realities beyond comprehension. It would take a super computer to calculate all the moves. But if you pay attention to your reality and see others in yours instead of you in theirs, you will see the possible realities and possibly make changes to it. Some moves are made to force a piece into a specific position, like a coincidence, to guide reality in a certain direction. Now that you have an idea of predetermined realities, I'm going to get rid of the idea that our reality is one long timeline like a wormhole. All these heads of nails represents a dormant predetermined reality. Consciousness travels across anyone like currents of electricity, like lightning tagging realities in its path, steered by individuals' thoughts and decisions, expanding further and further out. This is a 2D model. Just imagine you're surrounded by heads of nails that expands outward in all directions. And it's not just one current. There's multiple currents like neurons firing in the brain. Each one contains a different version of you, and each one will produce a different outcome. Here's where it gets interesting. Let's add time travelers in there. What do all time travel movies have in common? And I believe it's the same for real time travelers too. They all go back to the same timeline that's in the memory of the collective conscious. Why don't they land here, where you might be a rock star in this reality? Or here, where you might be an owner of a small business? Maybe it's because we're all locked in by some frequency or by coordinates points. Or maybe all these realities is like a combination stamped into our collective blockchain. And every predetermined reality that our collective hits becomes a blockchain or quantum marker. Let's say a time traveler wants to travel back to the Titanic event and try to prevent it from sinking. He can't change our past because our conscious current has passed that point. And when he returns, I'm guessing his reality will remain unchanged as well because he has no attachments with this new reality. Can you imagine him returning back to a lab? His peers wouldn't even know why he left, and probably wouldn't even know who he is. With that being said, and this is my opinion, I don't believe time travelers can travel past their current reality into the future, because there will be infinite possibilities that they could end up if it is possible. and the fact that their current consciousness haven't hit those quantum markers yet. Going back, once a time traveler leaves our collective current and makes it to the Titanic quantum marker, he catches the next collective current and will be the only one who notices the changes if successful in preventing it from sinking. Which is also why I believe the grandfather paradox is not possible. If a time traveler was to go back and kill his grandfather, the time traveler's original timeline will remain intact because it has already passed. But now he's on a new collective current where it is possible to still be alive after killing his grandfather. It's just that he will not be born in that timeline, but at the same time still exists in that timeline. He manages to save the Titanic, but for only that consciousness current. And that current, like the grandfather paradox, will go to his new destination. Now if he decides not to interfere, as long as he's there, not even saying a word to anybody or using his knowledge of the future, he will gradually veer off from the reality he knows simply just by being there, because he don't belong. I'm pretty certain that our timeline has been shifted by time travelers because of the ones that are already here, but they are the only ones that will know about it. Deja vu may even play a role in this too. One is when two nearby very similar collective consciousness hit the same quantum marker at the same time and you switch consciousness with each other. Theoretically, that would mean a lot of people should have deja vu at the same time. Or your conscious gets left behind or set to a particular marker before a change is supposed to happen and a new collective current picks you up and you repeat that reality, but on a new collective current. Both would explain why little things around you change from the days before. Some people in other videos even say that people they know seem to change. They didn't change. It's the current that changed, and the people on that current experience life slightly different from the current you were used to. I'm going to end this segment by talking about some things that is totally random and unrelated that I think you will enjoy. One person commented and asked me how did I come to the conclusion of the results in the coincidence video. I told him that it happens to me so much that I couldn't possibly be the only one. Later I remembered another strange coincidence involving my ex in that video. I said there were a lot of coincidences. The number 13. I always liked the number 13, but now I have second thoughts. This right here I'm not making up. I can't lie anyway because my mom be listening and I would have to answer to her. Hi Mom. Get this. I'm 13 years older than my ex. She is 13 years older than my daughter. When we met, my daughter was 13 years old. It doesn't stop there. Her father, my ex, is 13 years older than me. My father is 13 years older than him. It was kind of freaky, so we thought 13 was our number and that it meant that we were supposed to be together. We went out of town one weekend and we passed a tattoo parlor and went there to get a small 13 tattoo on our neck behind the ear. We planned this before. That particular tattoo shop gave every excuse not to give that tattoo, lying saying nobody gets tattooed back there and it's too painful because it's near the bone and every other excuses. I seen plenty of people with tattoos right there. That's where I got the idea. We came to the conclusion that they were just racist and didn't want to service us. Turns out to be a blessing in disguise, or just another coincidence. And to top it off, the total sum of the coins in that video turns out to be 13 cents. It doesn't even surprise me anymore. Woodward TV. I know plenty of you are fans of Woodward. I love his work too. He did this one video called The Hutchison Effect. If I didn't see that video, I would never knew that John Hutchison had his own YouTube channel. John Hutchison is very fascinating to me. I've known about him for years and thought there's no way YouTube will let him have a channel, not with the secrets he knows. I immediately subscribed and found that his channel has been running a few years. I was shocked. Surprisingly, he only had a couple hundred subscribers. I watched a few of his videos and come back to watch the others later. Less than 2 weeks after Woodward's video came out, John Hutchison's channel was terminated for violating YouTube guidelines. They are so full of shit. There were so many other videos I wanted to watch. His last few videos were like 20-second home videos. After years of having that channel, all of a sudden his violated guidelines. YouTube doesn't want you finding out things that can make you self-sufficient and self-empowering. Commercials. Now look at this bullshit right here. That's funny. Now most guys, pretty much all straight guys, would have done a pelvis thrust so fast that it would break the sound barrier. Not this guy. He's bending onto the sword like he's really trying to get it up in there. Sodomy in your face. And look at this poor child. She got her other hand on his butt cheek like she performing an enema. Any child that see this would think it's okay to stick people in their ass. What the hell Bounty was thinking? How come Ross never used dark men in their fashion commercials? Or any of their commercials for that matter? Burger King. How come Burger King never uses the word chicken when describing their golden nuggets? They always show that cartoon baby chicken to trick you. It's only one time I heard them use the word chicken is when they talking about the new spicy chicken nuggets, but not when describing them. They always say juicy white meat. What white meat they talking about? It could be iguana. Take it from fast food taste tester, The Life of Archie.
But let me show you the inside. Let's see what the inside looks like. Looks a little dry, a little suspect. Don't really like real chicken, but real what it is. Tastes alright. So we all gonna die someday of something.
There you have it. Who watches Cheaters? My condolences to the family of Clark Gable. Do some of those episodes seem a little too staged? Here's one where you can tell the next time you watch it. The ones that seem staged always takes place in somebody's house. Once they're in the house, look at the walls. They always have at least 4 or more crosses all over the walls in that one room where the fight is. I seen one where they had at least 11. My grandmother was a deeply religious person before she died, and the most I seen her have is 2 to 3 crosses, and that's one each in different rooms. It's just real strange to me. How come cell phones don't have radio or live TV? These phones can do everything except pick up radio signals. It's designed that way. Of course you could download a radio app, but that's just one station, and it's not the real radio station itself. It's their website. They can't keep track of you if you listen to the radio off the air. In my last video, I said keep an eye on gold prices because of the Khashoggi situation. I guess they handling that situation because I invested in a couple of gold mining company stocks and made a little profit. They've been rising since October, but now the prices are staying level. Is that a sign that it's almost swept under the rug? I find it real odd that Trump wants to give his son-in-law a top secret clearance when he's always hanging around Prince MBS. And finally, I will end it with some personal Mandela effects. Some of you may notice these. They weren't big scenes, but they were memorable scenes for me. Everyone have that one movie that they could watch over and over again. Lord of the Rings was one of mine. There was this scene where the orcs were tired from running and wanted to rest and eat. One orc says,
"I'm starving. We ain't had nothing but maggoty bread for 3 stinking days."
What was the next scene you remember? For me and my daughter, the next orc says, "Yeah, when are we gonna get some meats?" We always laughed at that part every time. We even had this thing where she says in her little voice if the meat's not on the table fast enough, "Yeah, when are we gonna get some meats?" I even called her and asked her what was the next line just to make sure, and she was right on cue. But this is what he says now.
Why can't we have some meats?
Now this one kind of pissed me off because the Mandela effect took away from me a treasured memory. And this one with the Nazgul, where he hops up on the wall and let out this scream. I remember this part well because it always creeps me out. From what I remember, when he screeched like that, he has his mouth wide open, you can see his tongue and everything. Not anymore. It's like the whole scene was cut and all you hear is the sound while the camera focuses on Frodo.
I can feel this blade.
That's not even right. It don't even look right. And lastly, Linda Carter. Most of you know about her name change from Linda to Lynda. Mandela Effect has a way of blurring evidence. Check out this old Jackson 5 clip where Wonder Woman herself writes her name on the wall. Looking at her write it looks like she wrote the I and the Y. And look how rich Carter is, but Linda appears to be faded. Like she ran out of ink on her first name and it came back for her last name. But the finished product, both letters appear to be missing altogether. Very strange. Just as strange as the way she written it. She bends down to write high. Why even bend down? It looks kooky. It's as if she's not even looking at what she's writing. When it comes to Linda anyway, she appears to be looking at Carter. Well, I hope you enjoy this video. Does the idea of dormant realities make sense to you? Does it help you understand your reality a little more even though there's no proof of what I'm saying to be true? If it does, that's all that matters. As always, thank you for watching and thank you for sharing your time with me. At the last minute, I caught something else. In the beginning of that Jackson 5 clip, on the wall is the word busted, and another word that looks like an arrow pointing at where Linda Carter would write her name. Is that a sign? That's funny.